Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Astrology and Coffee. This is our 24th class. I can't believe how fast we are getting through these. It feels like we just started, but I guess, it's been 24 weeks, so
crazy.
It starts to add up. But I'm so excited that everyone is here. And yeah, we've been having a good discussion. We had an event on Sunday and had a lot of fun learning about herbs from our herbology teacher, Sammy Nielsen, and she's fantastic. We're going to be hopefully releasing some classes from her soon. Sorry, Elle, did you have any?
No, I just was saying she was amazing. I truly enjoyed it.
Yeah, so good.
Yes. Yeah, it was great, and I love, the way she is connected with everything and what she talks about, and yeah, it's really beautiful. I know I had a good time. So, yeah, if you couldn't join us for this event, we have events every single Sunday in the Salt Lake Valley. Not every single Sunday. Sorry, I would cut myself off.
I don't think I can handle it.
Let me say the location before I say when. So we're in the Salt Lake Valley, and we have events every third Sunday of the month. So we have an event coming up. I think it's the 15th of October, the third Sunday. Yeah, and I'll be teaching a class there. It's just a mini class, a little workshop of my workshop that I'll be doing for our retreat. So it's all about kind of connecting to our intuition and learning a little bit about psychic abilities. So I'm super excited about that. And I just have a little spoiler alert, but you're all psychic. So you should definitely come and learn about how you can hone those abilities and those gifts and learn more about them. So Anyway, I'm Megan with the Academy of Logic and Light. That's what we do is we're here to be a community education platform to provide a safe space for people to practice their spirituality without being indoctrinated. So if you're interested in joining us as a teacher or joining us at one of our events, feel free to follow along with our journey here on YouTube. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. On our Facebook group, we have kind of some more engaging things that are happening over there. And you can also find us online at academyoflogicandlight.org. We also have a Patreon if you're interested in subscribing over there, and you can help support us that way. And yeah, so if you're interested in teaching with us, or if you'd like to join along with our journey, go ahead and give us a follow, or you can reach out to us on social media or at academyoflogicandlight@gmail.com. You can send us an email there. Anyway, so that's what we do. That's the Academy of Logic and Light, kind of what we've been up to. And today is Astrology and Coffee. We're going to talk about Venus. This is just part one of the planet Venus and what it means in your chart, wherever it is, what sign it is in. So I'll turn the time over to Julie and Elle. I'm just going to run a quick intro before.
That was a lot. That was a lot of information. I was like, man.
I zoned out for a second. I know we have to say all of our things.
I know.
I'm glad Megan's doing it so I don't have to before coffee.
I know. So I would have stumbled all the way through all of that. Like word vomit. Like, what's happening? I don't know.
You look beautiful, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It
was so nice seeing you.
I know. I'm like, gosh, I promise I'm a real person. I just don't get out much. And it's just a drive. Ogden to Salt Lake is a little cruise. So, but baby was in a good mood. Husband was in a good mood. So, we're like, we're doing this. We're going down. So.
And we're coming to you this weekend.
I am so excited for that.
We're going to be at the Ogden Pagan Pride Festival. I think that's what it's called.
What time are you guys going? And I'll make sure that I adjust my time.
We're still talking about it because we were looking at all the workshops that were available. Excuse you, sir. He's been a lot today. He's trying to come after my half-eaten cold pizza.
Oh. He says, but I love snacks. Is he still on his diet?
Oh, yeah. We started at 6 in the morning. I heard him trying to break into the automatic food eater. at 6, screaming down the halls. And I was like, you have 1 hour. Like, if you were sleeping, you wouldn't be hungry.
Yes, I do that. My cats are 7 and 7. I feed them at 7 at night, 7 in the morning. But they're always like, if you wake up, if your alarm goes off, they're right there like, oh, you're waking up, I see. This is fantastic. Yeah. They're really hungry.
They're so starving. I'm like, I think you guys have eaten 4 times and I haven't eaten once yet.
I know. I think all cats have Taurus moons. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I could see that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Plus all this, the napping. Yeah, that makes
Taurus
sense.
moon energy, 1000%.
I love that. Okay, today we are doing Venus.
We are not as hyped up as we were last week. We have calmed down. We have meditated. No one died. I just want to clarify that no one was murdered last week. Julie and we have brought our energies. We've centered.
I was like, I almost heated up a chocolate lava cake for breakfast. That's my mood today. It's a different vibe than last week.
I'm not trying to fight people. I'm just chilling.
Not yet, but give me
Venus is love. Venus is love. Let's just like bring in the love energy.
All right. So Venus describes what we like, what we love, what we are attracted to. Imagine you walked into a mall. Venus will tell us what areas you will be drawn to based on your interests. It also describes how you are in relationships and the qualities that you require to feel love. In this class, we'll be talking about Venus and its associations, the elements of Venus, and keywords for each sign, and Venus in retrograde, which we just left. Thankfully.
Fuck that, honestly.
Yeah, that was Venus retrograde was rough. Quick cheat sheet as always. The planet is the what energy, what type of essence or energy. The sign is the how do you use that energy. The house is the where. What areas in your life does it show up? And then the aspects is the part we're working on, and we'll dive deeper. But each class we're getting a little bite size, introducing the aspects. And those are the dynamics. The blue lines are the easier, red lines are a little more challenging. And Venus is all about like, what kind of lovers do you attract? Are you flirtatious? Do you find happiness in love affairs, or are you often disappointed? Where do your creative talents lie? It rules Taurus and Libra and the 2nd and the 7th house. It's exalted in Pisces. Its detriment is Scorpio and Aries, and the fall is in Virgo. Element is earth and air, and the time spent in each sign is 2 months. Do you have anything you want to add to fun facts?
I mean, I was just admiring that both my sun and my Venus are in fall, so.
Interesting.
That's fantastic. Very weak in my chart. Very weak. Libra and Virgo.
Oh, yeah. Influences are the how and the what you love, what you are attracted to, your values and your desires. Taurus qualities are practical, slow, steady, and musical, and Libra qualities are the peacemaker, relationship, and artistic. 2nd house qualities are safety and possession, values and worth, and 7th house qualities are partnership, contracts, and negotiations. The basics of Venus is the beauty, taste buds, romanticism, feelings, artistic sensibility, and what you love, what you're attracted to. Viewing Venus in your life is your natural interest in how you do relationships and what draws you to others. Archetypes associated with Venus is the goddess of love, the maiden, the goddess of the sea. Themes are love, fertility, attraction, relationship, valuables, romance, pleasure, beauty, sensuality, sexuality, affection, friendliness, aesthetics, erotica, and luxury. As I'm sensing a theme.
Beauty, love.
Yeah.
Aesthetics.
All of the good things. Yes. One of the ways of understanding the meaning of a planet is to become familiar with the mythic attributes and deeds of the god or goddess who share the same name. This archetypal approach reaches back into the heart of astrological origins that predicted upon the divine energy, the divine nature of planetary energy. I was like skipping words. The deities associated with the planet Venus are Aphrodite in Greece was the goddess of beauty, and her counterpart in Rome bears the name of the planet Venus. There's also Frigg from Old Norse mythology is the goddess of marriage, prophecy, clairvoyance, and motherhood. She is believed to be married to the king of the gods, Odin, and is protector of home and families. Myth says she is responsible for weaving the clouds and the fates. Okay, these are the when I start finding things to be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Venus and the elements. So Venus water is romantic, longing, possessive. If Venus is in a water sign, you will be attracted to spiritual matters, to quiet, sacred spaces. Textures and sensual pleasures are a high value of yours in your home, and private space are essential. What's your Venus in?
Virgo.
Virgo Venus. Oh, wow. Mine's Capricorn.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
I mean, we're not the most romantic, and we're very picky, and we're very, when you have an Earth, we can go into Earth. We'll talk about that, but I will touch on the water. The water Venuses are nice because they I always say are nice. I'm just like pleasurable, like to have a water Venus, because how you love is very sensual. It's very deep. It's very connected. Water signs are deep. I talked about this in earlier episodes. When you think of the ocean and how deep it goes and the mysteries of it, there's just so much depth. And so when your Venus, how you love is very deep, you attract partners that need that depth. And everyone says, oh, I need depth. I need someone who's deep. But honestly, a lot of people say that because they just want a connection with someone. They don't necessarily want to dive deep into the unknown or the uncomfortable. Water Venuses, they are fine with that. They truly do go in areas that are, difficult or challenging or too feely for some people. They really dive deep and connect in a different way. I truly believe that, I've said this with moons, but Venus is right there with it. When you have a water Venus, you can connect to other water Venuses or even water moons that are really connected on another, like a deeper, more emotional level than any other of the elements. Water is just deeper. I'll never understand it.
Can be shallow.
I'm like, I don't have that. I don't. It just.
Yeah. I kind of glad though. Like people get so like swept away, and I was like, I've allowed myself to get swept away in the romance like 2 or 3 times maybe,
but there's practicality behind it with us. There's always like, okay, if this doesn't work out, there's like, I can do that. Like I'm okay. Like, like that's just our way of thinking. These people know these are hopeless romantics. If you leave me, I'll die. Like I hear it all the time, and I'm just like,
super grateful I don't have that.
Yeah. But the person that they don't want them to leave, I guess, really feels connected and really feels like, oh, they really love me. But to me, that's not love. That's,
infatuation.
Yeah, that's something totally. Love is allowing someone to be free. But I'm, so Aries, like loving someone is letting them be free and letting them like be themselves, where water is more like be mine. You're mine. And it's like, okay, that's possessive. That's not
possessive,
love.
Yeah.
So
for real.
I personally don't like that. I could never do a water Venus. I could not do it, even though I'm a Virgo, and like you would think like Cancer Venus or maybe even a Scorpio Venus would be the possessiveness is too heavy for me.
A Scorpio Venus sounds like a nightmare.
I would be too worried about my house getting set on fire, to be honest.
Yeah. And all the lies and secrets.
Oh yeah. I would never trust. I mean, not that I say that. I personally don't trust them. I'm sure there are very honest Scorpio Venuses out there, depending on other placements in their chart. But it is an area for secrecy. It is an area for secret, and all of them, all the water signs, there's a secrecy to them that they don't. They I don't know what it is that they feel that it's okay to keep secrets. It's like their business. It's like, this is mine, no one else's, and I don't need to share it. And they don't, I don't know. I don't get that. But
me neither.
Along with Fire Venus, I don't think I would be too keen on this one either. Because
no, and I was like looking through, and I've been guessing everyone who's at Aries Venus lately. I've been able to like do a pretty good job guessing. And now, and I've been saying, I'm like, I think the Aries Venuses are like corny little feisty people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did my family's birth chart, and almost everyone in my family is an Aries Venus. I'm like, ew.
No. You're like, gross. You're like, this isn't it. This is not it.
Yeah. I wish I didn't know that.
You're like, gee, this is not it. But I mean, it is true. Fire in general, like I always say, is active. They're very energetic. They have a lot of energy. And so when you have that energy in a place of love, it's very playful. It's very fun. It's very childlike. Teasing is kind of like their love language. Like, I think fire Venuses are assholes, but they love each other. Like, they're like, oh, you called me this and made me feel like shit, but I love it, and I don't get that. I'm just like, no,
Yeah.
be nice. But they love the banter. They love, they really love just being playful. And it's almost like a sport for them. Love is like a sport. When you think of fire signs, love is a sport. They love the chase. Like, if you give in too easy on a fire Venus, it's probably not going to go very far, But it's just, they enjoy, love to them is fun. They can be a little possessive. It's kind of like the water. I think of like Scorpio energy. They can be a little more mine, but it's not long lived. It's kind of like for a short amount of time. They're on to the next
like
one.
A fire, yeah.
But I do like when I see two fire Venuses together, because I know that there's like this, it's not deep like water, but it's like loyal. There's a loyalty there that I find when I see two fires. I'm like, okay, you guys are.
Those are my parents.
Oh, I love that. They're loyal to each other.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty
I love
cute.
that.
Venus and air.
So this one, again, honestly, I probably would only stick to Earth Venuses, because I keep saying, nope, wouldn't do this one. Because, the elements of love with the elements of air with, Venus energy is too free for me. Like, I'm not possessive and I'm not like controlling. I'm probably one of the freest people, but I want you to respect me, and I want you to, like, have like my best interest in mind all the time. These little guys are just fun and free. They're not really thinking about the other person that they're with, because, they're just having a good time. I'm talking about an air Venus in a committed relationship. Not that they're cheaters. They're just social butterflies. They're friendly with everyone, especially a Libra Venus. Ugh.
Oh, man.
They want to be loved by everybody. They want everyone to love them, and they want to love everyone. And so if you can't handle that, if you have, like, my Venus wouldn't be okay with that. A Virgo, fuck that, not happening. But a Gemini Venus would be like, oh yeah, you're social, I'm going to be social. They probably have a mix of friends that they are flirty with, and they both probably flirt, and it's fine, and that's okay. They're free with that. I'm not that free. So it's just a lighter, they like to be more intellectually stimulated. They are more intellectual in relationships. They communicate, and they have relationships based on the thought of things versus the feeling of things. And so they are very driven in relationships by intellect and how this person is going to stimulate their brain versus how they make them feel, which I kind of like that aspect, honestly. But I'm trying to dig into my heart chakra. That's what I was told yesterday that I need to do. So maybe that's where I open up. But yeah, no, they're just very, air is a good Venus to have. It makes you very light, makes relationships easy. I would say these people enjoy relationships more than others. They don't get as hurt as others, depending on your chart. Not saying that you've never been hurt. It's just, it might take a little more. You might brush things off a little easier than, say like an Earth Venus or a water Venus.
I'm like going through everyone's charts now. Like, I don't really have a whole lot of Venus people in air. A couple of Aquarius Venuses.
Yeah, they tend to settle down later in life. That's something, that's kind of one of the themes for them, is to settle down, especially Aquarius. Aquarians are so independent. It's like, for them to really be locked down, they have to really feel free with someone for it to work for them. That's why Libra and Gemini are so good for them, because Libra and Gemini, they're just, they're just flowing.
That makes sense.
Freely. Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Venus and Earth, that's us.
Earth Venuses. This is Julie and I. We have a lot of we have trying a lot of our things, which is kind of cool. Yes. Because we can relate. It's like Earth Venuses, they're very practical in love. Like, our love language is acts of service. Like if you do things for me and you show me that you care, it's little things. Like it's not these extravagant, showy things. It's like, oh, hey, I fixed your door. I noticed that it was squeaking. It's like, oh, that's like the best thing you could have done for me. You know, like we appreciate
especially if it's like something small that like more people wouldn't notice. That's when it's meaningful.
Yes.
I hate when people are like, oh, I'm going to do this and I was going to do this for you and this for you. I was like, don't tell me the things you're going to do. Just do them.
Leo, Venus. Don't say you're going to do all the things and be like amazing and then not.
Yeah.
We'll go into that.
I need proof.
Well, I'll share. So I'm a Virgo Venus. My husband is a Taurus Venus. And so one of the first things that I really connected with him was my son's car wasn't working. And he was like, and this is before we were like dating. He's like, let me check it out. He goes and looks at it. He takes my son to go get the battery. It was a battery issue. Picks it up, shows him how to install it, teaches him how to like do it. And for me, it was such a like, okay, like I'm still not going to date you. You're too young, but I really appreciate that he took the time and not just to do it, but to teach, you know, like my son is just like young and he's 16. And so I was like, okay, that's really kind. So those are the little things, especially for like Virgos, Virgo Venuses, it's the worst to have, honestly, like relationships. You're so picky. You see like a little bit of like something you don't like. You're like, nope, this isn't going to work. So it just is what it is. Capricorn, very similar, very picky. One little thing, it's like, and you're totally not even attracted to that person anymore.
100%. It gets quick.
You know, it's like, you're not even attractive anymore. And so and Taurus is kind of the same. I'd say Taurus Venus is where it thrives. It's ruled by Venus. So when you have someone with a Taurus Venus, they are true through and through to like consistent, kind, like pleasure. They love pleasure. It's a very pleasure spot for like a Taurus. They're very sensual and sexual, and it's like it thrives there. It's a great Venus to have. So I personally like the Earth Venuses because I think it makes you practical in relationships, which I like because I'm an Earth Venus.
Yeah,
so I'm just being biased.
It's nice to have the groundedness in it because love makes people crazy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now we're into the signs, kind of what we just did a little bit, but I'll let you I just made it super basic this week.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's easy because, you know, after doing this 24 times, you guys, I feel like our viewers should be catching on to the themes. Like sometimes it's like, okay, this is really repetitive. Okay, Aries, same qualities that it has in the moon and Mercury and all the sun, it has in Venus, but it also throws like a different flavor, like an Aries Venus, you know, like I said earlier, the fires, they're very active, they're very playful. Aries is a leader. Aries likes to drive the relationship. And so when you have an Aries Venus, Venus energy is soft and Aries is very aggressive. And so together combined, it softens an Aries out a little bit. Doesn't make them as aggressive, as warlike, because Venus is not about war. Venus is about love. Aries is about war. So it's kind of like calms down, maybe makes the Venus a little more tough and the Aries just a little more soft. And so when you have an Aries Venus, you probably do everything for your partner. Your way of showing them love is by doing things for them, cleaning the house, taking the kids or picking the kids up, or you know, whatever it is for your relationship, you love to do for your person because you're very active. You also want to lead the house. You want to be the person that is in charge. And so a Leo Venus would be really good because Leo can let someone take charge if they trust them. And so Leo, Aries, very good energy. That's a placement that would be very beneficial for an Aries Venus because you get each other. Or Sagittarius. Sagittarius might be a little more difficult to let you run the house, but Leos can step back. I've seen it a lot. A Leo Venus can step back and let someone run the show as long as they feel safe and that they can run it to their standards, which Aries can because it's Aries. So
that makes sense.
But they need to be in charge, and that's okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then we did kind of cover Taurus a little bit. Do you have anything you want to add to Taurus?
No, not really. I mean, again, it's it's ruled by Venus, so Taurus is happy here. It's a good home.
Yeah.
Very, very loving, very kind, very loyal. So good placement to have your Venus in Taurus. That's probably the best one, honestly, if I were to pick. Gemini Venus. Fun. These people love fun. They love they love to have a good time in a relationship. They don't want it to be too serious. They don't want it to be too like day by day. We have a routine. This is what we're doing. Like it needs to be a little spontaneous. It needs to be they kind of you need to keep them guessing intellectually. Like what is this person going to do next? Because if you're predictable and you're with a Venus Gemini, you're going to have to switch that up. They want unpredictability. They love that. They're unpredictable. You're never going to know what they're going to do, but they want to not know what you're going to do because then they're like, "Oh, okay, this is a game." It's like a kid. They're children ultimately, but in a good way, and like a playful, youthful kind of way, not like a tantrum throwing toddler. So there is a difference.
Sometimes.
I mean, unevolved. You just thought no, unevolved Gemini Venus could be a little disaster, but you know, I feel like they evolve pretty easily. Geminis get it. They think. They're thinkers.
Yeah, you're right. And then Venus Cancer.
Cancer is also a good placement for Venus. It gives you a softness. It gives you this motherly way about you in relationships. You take care of your partner. You make sure that they've had food. If they're sick, you're definitely right there, making sure that they have hot soup, making sure that their needs are met. And a lot of times I will give Cancer Venuses this advice. Don't give too much of yourself to someone and, be disloyal to yourself because it's kind of in their nature to do and not receive anything back and be okay with that. And that's not okay. You should really, have someone that does for you. And as crazy as this is going to sound, I would recommend staying in your element with the Venuses, like a Scorpio or a Pisces. Pisces would be great, but Scorpio for Cancer will make you feel safe. Like Scorpios, they have their secrets, but so does Cancer. So, they're not really digging too much in each other's stuff because they both have their own stuff, if that makes sense. Like they're like, oh, I don't want to dig in their shit because then my shit might come up and we don't want my shit out there. So there's that kind of understanding when you have water Venuses, and Pisces is very similar. So I would recommend a Scorpio Venus for a Cancer Venus because they're going to make you feel protected and safe, and their possessiveness doesn't bother you. Where some people are like, no, thank you. The Cancer's like, you possess me, you want me. That's their way they feel loved and appreciated at that moment. So I don't think that's healthy, but that's my opinion. That doesn't mean that I'm right. It's just not what I want.
I just went through everyone's charts. I don't have any Venus Scorpios at all in my friends' charts.
No, my daughter is a Venus Cancer, and she is a lover. She's a sweetheart to her boyfriends, and she'll do and do. And if they do for her, that's great. But if they don't, she's chilling. I'm like, God, no. Yeah. Leo Venuses. These people are, again, kind of similar to Gemini. They like to have fun. They enjoy a good time, but they also are a kind of a little more serious. So when you have a Venus in Leo, you demand things from your partner. It's not a, hey, could you do this? You're like, this is what I expect. And so Leo energy is proud. They want someone that's attractive. They want someone that's flashy, that shows up and just, vibrant and attention seeking because they like that. They like the attention. And when they find a partner that matches their want for attention, they thrive in it and they enjoy it and they love it. If you're, shy or all of the opposite of what I just said, they're not going to feel as attracted to you as they would someone who's loud and crazy and just really draws attention to themselves. And they like to be attention too, but don't be too much attention. Don't like overshadow them because that's going to be a problem. But if you're right there with them, being the hype girl or boy, they love that. So Leo energy with the Venus is, just out there. They love to make friends. They're friendly and they're just, Leo.
I watched a Venus Leo fall in love this last week and it was so cute.
Oh, yeah.
It was adorable.
He's like, I don't know if it was a guy or a girl, but I love that.
Yeah, it was cute.
That's fun.
Venus Virgo, that's you.
Virgo. This one is hard. This one is, it's not favorable because Virgo is in fall here. And, you know, when you think of Virgo, it's not a lovey sign. It's not a filly sign. It's just kind of, you know, practical and logical and organization and structure and perfection. It's like this person always seeks perfection in partners, which we all know is not obtainable. You know, that's a facade. And so it's kind of like when you have a Virgo and Venus, you expect your partner to live up sometimes to such high standards that they can't obtain, and then you're disappointed. And then you start being resentful because those are all things that Virgos do. And so it's very important. And I've had to learn this throughout my life. Like, people are not perfect. And, you know, when I can't have expectations at all, because if my expectations aren't met, I'm really disappointed. And then I'm kind of like, oh, this person sucks, you know? And I don't want it to be like that. So I've had to evolve through that. So if you're a Virgo Venus, stop, you know, trying to be perfect in relationships. I do that. And stop trying to make the person perfect, because we're not perfect. We're not even meant to be perfect. We're supposed to be flawed so we can learn and grow. So just keep that in mind, that perfection in a partner is unrealistic, and just try to be patient and don't criticize them all the time, because we can be very
Don't be so Virgo-y.
Yeah, stop it. Me telling myself that a lot.
Right. Venus,
Libra, Venus. Again, rolled by Venus. Libra here. This is a good one. I like Taurus, Venus a little more just because it's, you know, more practical and more like grounded. But Libra, Venus is really good. You love easily. You probably are very beautiful. You know, this is the aesthetics of someone with, I almost said, I don't know what I was about to say. Someone who just is very appealing, very beautiful, very sensual, very like flowy and just graceful. Like, that's probably the best way to put this. This is someone that's very graceful and beautiful. I'm trying to think of a celebrity that I know that's a Venus in Libra. I can't think of one, but they have this way about them. Relationships are easy. It's truly who they are. Like, Libra is all about partnerships, relationships. So they're always, you know, diplomatic and working on making their relationship better. They hate conflict in relationships. They hate it. It's like turmoil for them. So they don't like to fight, which is not very good in a sense of them not really speaking how they really feel to avoid conflict. So that's one thing. If you're a Libra Venus, make sure that you're standing up for yourself, just to avoid a fight. Sometimes, you know, that's very unhealthy, and you want to make sure that you're being true to yourself. So, and they can lose themselves a lot in relationships. Like, they kind of like mask who they are and become like a chameleon into who they're dating. They're like, oh, you're into this, I'm into this. And then they have like the full gear, and they're those people, you know?
Yep. I went and looked specifically at one of my friends. I was like, I have a feeling. Was right.
It was her. Yeah. It's very easy for them to change who they are for the person they're with. So
yeah. Okay, I have one. Runaway Bride. Julia Roberts' character, where she changed the way she eats her eggs based on what guy she was dating. She's probably a Libra Venus.
100%, yes. And she ran away.
She like had to sit. Yeah, she ran away, and then she had to sit down and try all the eggs and figure out which eggs she liked. That was such an impactful part of the movie.
Yes, yeah. I don't know that I've ever watched that. I should watch that.
Oh my gosh.
I just know Runaway because it's a runaway bride. So I'm like, well, obviously she ran away. So that's very Libra-like, because we like them, you know, Libras are fickle, and, you know, we're in it and then we're not. And then we're, you know, it's very indecisive placement. Sometimes you feel like you found the one, and then you find out like, I don't think they are the one. This person over here seems more like the one. They're hard to pin down because everyone is so, not everyone, but they connect with people really well.
In everyone, yeah.
Yeah. So a Gemini Venus could handle that. Others would not be okay with that. Scorpio Venus and a Libra Venus would not be my paired match. It could work,
right,
depending on other things, but you're really going to have to work on your flirty nature.
Yeah. Libra. And then going into that Scorpio.
Yeah. No, we are with
nice
Scorpio.
Transition.
Sure. Yeah, I was going to say that was a great transition. So Scorpio Venus is, I think, a tough placement too, because they're so possessive, and this is a place of love that should be like free and loving, and it's, you know, they can be very jealous, they can be very controlling, but with that being said, they're also very deep and very understanding, and they can teach people things about themselves, help people transform in a way that they really wouldn't have done without having this type of relationship. So it's good and bad. I mean, every sign has good and bad, and I'm not even going to say bad. They just have good and areas to work on. But if you don't like being possessed and you don't like feeling like someone's person, like only, I wouldn't recommend this one for you. But some people like that, and this would be a good one because they are going to possess you. There will be secrets, sex. You know, Scorpio is all about sex. It literally is a good placement for someone who's very sexual, but like deep and meaningful, not just like promiscuous fly by the weekend sex. Like this is very deep connection, like sex. So there's that. So a lot of people need that as well. They want that like really true deep connection, and this is definitely a placement for that.
Venus Scorpios look like they're gonna ruin your life.
Yeah.
Just
the dark
based
aesthetic.
on the description.
Yes. And they can. I mean,
Yeah.
you wrong them, it'd get in badly for you. I'm just saying, I didn't burn
Yeah.
down your house.
They will burn down your house.
Anytime, there used to be this meme, it was like this girl sitting outside of, like, she's like leaning against the car and the house is on fire and she's smoking a cigarette. I'm like, ooh, that's not the most Scorpio thing I've ever seen, you know?
Right.
It's like when your man, it's something about when your man cheats or something. It's like, that's not where I go, but you know, I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's good. All right, Sagittarius. This one's fun. This one, they love adventure. They love excitement. Sagittarius Venuses are very hard to tie down. They're very free. They love their freedom. They don't like explaining themselves to people. So if you are someone that needs a very consistent person that is constantly giving you updates on their life, this is not the one, because you probably won't even know what they're doing half the time because they're just doing their own thing. Not that they're doing anything bad or disloyal. They just are so in their own world. And so it's just fun. It's fun. They love to learn. Again, it's kind of like Gemini, a little different. Theirs is more philosophical. I always say that Gemini is more like now time, like learning. And Sagittarius is more about history and philosophical views and just different ways of thinking. So if you can get in their head and, you know, make it active, like for this sign, it needs to be very active, but also stimulating, like physically stimulating and mentally stimulating. So you've got to work both of those angles with this Venus. You know, Sagittariuses, they are fun and very positive. So if you have a Sagittarius Venus in your life, your relationship is probably very positive, probably very easygoing. Again, you just have to be able to go with the flow. Like you have to be kind of like Gemini, not on a 9 to 5 schedule with this person, or an everyday routine doesn't work for them. They like to have a mix of a schedule, a mix of a life. They don't want consistency. They want it to be a little more free and open.
That makes sense with Sag.
Yes, those little Sagittariuses. Capricorn Venus. These people are careful and cautious in love. They take a long time to fall in love. When they do fall in love, they have expectations of the person. They expect them to, you know, abide by the, and you may not resonate so much with this, but this is typical of a Capricorn Venus. They expect you to abide by society's rules of what marriage is. And so maybe this was you in the past, maybe you've evolved through this, but you know, Capricorn is public role. And so public role is I've just tried to say this yesterday. I was like, why am I like losing my brain? So appearance is very important to them. Their public role is very important to them. When you are in a relationship, they expect you to behave and act a certain way so that the relationship looks appealing and looks how society should be in that sense. Like, you know, they don't want you acting a fool or talking or flirting with a bunch of women at a party because that makes them look bad. if does that make sense? Like, it makes you look like a clown. You feel like ultimately,
Don't
like,
embarrass us.
I don't want to look stupid. Like,
Yeah.
don't do that. Like, it's very important to Capricorn Venuses that their relationship, they have their expectations, but they also want to appear perfect ultimately, because they like perfection too. There's that similarity here with the Virgo and the Capricorn. It's like you want your relationship to look a certain type of way, and you have an expectation. And so a lot of times people don't meet those expectations. You get let down a lot. And if someone says they're going to do something, they have to do it. They have to do it, or you're like flaky and not interested. You're like, I can't deal with the flakiness in a relationship.
I've broken up with people for less, for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like you just have high expectations, and there's nothing wrong with that. A Virgo Venus would be really good for you, or a Taurus Venus. Because
yeah,
they're really
actually,
the only ones
I am sleeping with a Virgo Venus.
I love it. Yeah.
And I always tell him, don't embarrass me in public.
And I don't feel like that he would ever do that, because he's got his own expectations.
He's got his own things.
Yeah, he's got his own expectations. But yeah, I would say Earth element in the Venuses is probably the best way to go for other Earth Venuses, because they really are going to be the closest to meeting your expectations. Like, a water for an Earth is going to be too emotional. An Earth for a water is going to be too practical, not feely. So that kind of clashes, because that would be my other recommendation, is going for someone with a water and Earth, because those two do mesh well together. But in this case with Venuses, I think staying in your element is very helpful. The only one that I would say to maybe mix up a little bit would be fire and air, because they are both free. Air would just have to lock it down a little bit, maybe not be so flirty and free, but at the same time, fire can be the same way. So
yeah,
that would be my only recommendation. But depending on your chart and where other things are, you can have a Virgo Venus and a Gemini Venus, and there'd be Mercury energy there, and it really work for you, and you both have an understanding. So there's that. But ultimately, I always recommend the Venuses to stay within the same element.
That makes a lot of sense, though. Because it's like where your expectations and where you're at. So you don't have to like try too hard to like get out of your comfort zone either.
Yeah. No, it's very helpful. It's very helpful in relationships. When your Venus is trying each other, it's kind of, the relationship flows smoothly. And when they square each other, it's challenging, because that's what you are doing 90% of the time is your relationship. I mean, you're working and you're outside of the home and you're not with that person every day, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure you're both on the same page, and that same element puts you on the same page.
Yeah.
Aquarius Venus. This one is a little wild child, free, very independent. This Venus, if you are with an Aquarian Venus, you have to let them be free. I've got my Italian thing going here. You have to let them be free, because they will be loyal. They will be what you need. They're probably the least of the flirty of the air signs. Gemini and Libra, they're out there. But Aquarius isn't so much flirty, but they can be, I don't want to say distracted. They can be really drawn to someone if someone gets into their mind, like intellectually, stimulating them mentally. They give into that. That's a really weak point for them, because it takes a lot for someone to stimulate their brains and really interest them. So that's one area where Aquarius Venus, like, always make sure that you're not, falling prey to people that mentally stimulate you, because I do see that a lot. They like give in. And so it's not a bad Venus. It's just, in relationships, you have to have your own things. This is someone who doesn't want to share their bank account. They can travel by themselves. They go eat by themselves. They're just very good at doing things by themselves. But in relationships with someone, like, I would love to see an Aquarius Venus with an Aquarius Venus, because they can come together and do life together and drive and get it, and have like that mutual respect for one another, and also do their own things, and it not be weird, be completely okay. So it's just one of those really independent Venuses that loves and can give you like a lot of mental energy, a lot of feelings, not so much. Like, if you need someone who's emotional, these people can be a little detached emotionally. They can kind of not be as emotional and as the depth there. I don't say lacking depth, because I think Aquariuses are very deep. There's just not a lot of emotions. That's really the best way to say it. So
Interesting.
yeah. I like an Aquarius. Oh, Pisces. These are truly hopeless romantics. They will go to the ends of the earth for you. This is, when I think of this, I think of Harley Quinn. Like, she's just ready to die for you. You know, like she, like, oh, you want to throw me off a balcony into whatever that was? I don't even know. Like, that is the depth. Like, that is her proving her love. I'm sure the Joker was probably Pisces Venus too. They just, or Scorpio Pisces.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the best kind of. They are just so crazy, but they do anything. They do the craziest things. And so when I see a Pisces Venus, I know that this person is going to be very kind. They're going to be, you know, very accommodating to their person. They're going to make sure that they're taken care of. A little different than Cancer. They're not like, maybe not the ones with like the hot soup, making sure that you're fed, but they're like, what do you need? What can I do for you? In different ways of like, an example would be someone that like, you know, maybe I can, you know, it's not so much action. It's not like, can I do things for you? It's more of, do you want to sit and maybe meditate? Do you want to sit and like, maybe, you know, we can listen to this mystical music and I can like, you know, just heal you with my hands. It's more of that kind of that kind of energy of like showing up for their partner. Because they're honestly probably not the best at making sure people eat. So sometimes I think they forget to eat. So they're just loving and kind and gentle and just really kind people in relationships and giving and faithful. So, but they can be naive. They can be very naive in relationships. So
my friend's a Venus Pisces, and she's always making sure everyone's got all of their food sensitivities are taken care of when we go out. There's something for she reads menus and makes sure there's something for everyone. And yeah,
they're
it's
just
very
sweet.
Very sweet.
Yeah, they're sweet individuals. Pisces in general is very sweet.
Yeah, very. Venus retrograde.
So we just came out of one. And if you were in a relationship, or if you were in a relationship, maybe give it some time to settle. And I've seen a lot of charts in my synastry. I have this group that's like a synastry group that we look at charts. And there was a girl that posted her and her boyfriend a 5-year synastry chart. And she's like, we just broke up unexpectedly, like heartbroken. And I was heartbroken for her. And I was looking at her chart and I was like, oh my God, I was like, this is not forever. You guys have so many outer planet aspects that are connecting, that show like longevity in a relationship, that you just give it some time, wait for it. So this is Venus retrograde. Venus retrograde breaks down your relationship and brings light the things that you're hiding, or the things that are hard, or the things that you're not really acknowledging. Venus retrograde brings all that to surface. And you'll notice when retrogrades happen for different signs, depending on where the degree is in that sign and the house that it's in, it can destroy you. I'll give an example. So this Venus retrograde for me was in Pisces in the 12th house. For my husband, it was Cancer, or it was Scorpio in the 4th house. Our family and our whole, like, what we have going on was completely blown up. I mean, we're fine. We're just great. But it was just the 4th house of family, the 12th house of imagination. Like, we couldn't connect. And so when you look at the house and the degrees, and it was like a certain time frame in this retrograde. So when you have a retrograde, it hits everybody at different times, depending on where it's hitting in your houses, what degrees it's in, where yours are. And so you'd be like, oh, I'm fine. It starts. And you're like, and then it might get rocky, or it might start off rocky, and then it might smooth out. So keep in mind that it can hit you at any time. And sometimes it doesn't really affect you at all. If you have good placements and everything, you could smooth sail through this little retrograde. But
let us know what that's like.
Yeah, let us know. Because this last one, I've made it through a lot of Venus retrogrades untouched. This last one, I mean, you all saw me last week. I was raging. And so, yeah, you know, it happens. And that's just the reality. Sorry, my baby's losing her shit back there. The reality is that, you know, we all go through it, and those things need to come up. Those things need to be shown. Like, no relationship is perfect. And if you don't bring up the shit or the bad or the dark, whatever, then you're not really growing, you're not evolving, and you're not working through anything. So what's the point? Like, you always need to be working. So when you see Venus retrograde and you get really scared and you're like, no, just know that whatever happens is what's meant for you, and it's meant to happen, and it needs to happen for you to grow. That's how I have to look at it, because I'm like, the fuck.
The fuck.
Same with Mercury retrograde. Same with all of them. Just know that it's necessary.
It is necessary, even though it sucks, but it's always worth it.
Yeah.
I hope, anyways. Megan says, I have a fire Venus and my husband has air. We don't always love the same way, but we definitely feel each other's needs. We have very different love languages.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's one I would recommend, fire and air, because, you know, it's not the same element, but I feel like those are the two that could jive and really make it work. I mean,
especially if you're talking about like passion and love, then fire and air make sense, right?
Yeah, it fuels the fire. Air ignites it. Fire can't live without air. So, you know, it is necessary. But like, you think of water and earth, like those two are really good. But in this sense, you really got to find a way. The emotions of the water and the practicality of the earth sometimes in this area can be very challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I could see your love language is probably more, let's see, fire. Love language is more like doing for them. You do for them, they do for you. And air is probably more, you know, like words of affirmation and speaking, you know, making that person think and feel better, you know. So I could see that being a difference, but it works.
Lisa says, I have a Taurus
Venus. Yes. You love to love. And I think she's also a Gemini Cancer cusp sun, if I'm correct. I feel like so with your Gemini Cancer mix of the sun energy and Taurus, I mean, it gives you're just a lover. You love to love. Like, Cancer is going to be accommodating. The Gemini might be a little challenging. That might put you on a more challenging in relationships. You don't put up with anything. Like, you're just kind of like, eh. But you want to be in love. You want to feel loved, and that's like an ultimate goal for you, because Taurus, Venus, they like to feel that people care and love them. Yeah. So yeah, she's a Cancer Gemini cusp. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's what her sun is.
Good memory.
Yeah. Shit, most days I don't even know what I wore yesterday, but I'll remember your sun, your moon, and your Venus.
That's no astrology problems, man.
I know. I'm like, I don't remember your name. I know that you're a Taurus, but what was your name again?
Yeah, for real.
I'm like, what?
That is all that we have. If anyone has any questions, we'll leave this open for a few more minutes. Next week, we'll be doing part 2 of Venus, and that'll be the houses and the aspects. So that'll be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
What house is your Venus in?
Mine's in the 9th house.
9th house. Okay. Which one's the 9th house again? It's after.
So it's like Sagittarius. So this really indicates meeting someone from afar.
Oh.
Yeah. So a lot of my relationships I've been in long distance relationships, and a lot of like living other places. It's kind of a theme. So
interesting.
Yeah.
What about Venus 6th house?
Venus 6th house is more of like meeting people that you work with or have some association with, like doing things with, like if you're doing like community service, or those are places that you could potentially meet a spouse, is like activities, doing something, you know, most likely work though. That's kind of an area of like work.
That makes sense.
I know I had a friend that was like, what if my Venus, and you're a Capricorn. My friend's like, what if your Venus is in the 4th house? She's like, how do I meet someone at home? I'm like, oh, that's a good one. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what the internet's for.
Yeah. And you're in your dark closet meeting people online.
So awesome. One last thing I just want to mention, October 21st and 22nd is our Park City retreat. Elle will be there. I will be there. Megan, Kat, and Sam. All of us board and teachers will be there. And 3 workshops, 4 meals, a very good price of $400 in Park City at a really nice place, hot tub access, meals cooked by me.
I know. Sage was like, please get that recipe from her.
Oh, the vegan potato salad? Oh,
yes,
I mean, it was like partial recipe, partial my own invention, but I pickled my own onions and the radishes. So
okay, yeah, no,
I'll give you the recipe for those.
So yeah, her food is amazing. If anything, come for the food and the girl time. But
it's gonna be so good.
Yeah,
so good. All right. Well, I will see you guys next week. Thank you, Elle, Megan, everyone watching, and we will see y'all next Tuesday.